Hey folks, today we're going to talk about a topic related to hunting that you probably won't hear much on YouTube, if at all. The reality of hunting. Stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the reality of hunting. And what I mean by the reality of hunting is the inevitable reality that all of us as hunters face some point or another in our hunting journey, career, what have you. And that is that things don't always go perfectly. Heck, they rarely ever go exactly as planned. And sometimes things just don't work out as you originally thought they would. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about was how the things you see on television, YouTube, heck, even my own channel here, are highly edited depictions of these various outdoor adventures and things. And what you see may not always necessarily be the reality of how that situation happened or what went down. Today I'm just going to pull the covers back on a few things, specifically from our fall hunting this year and some of the things you saw on our YouTube channel, what you saw versus what was reality. To start with, I'll take you back to the November firearm season when I was able to harvest that beautiful 7x5 whitetail buck. I'll put a link to that video down in the description. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple snippets of video. First, I'm going to show you the video that we edited and that you saw on the YouTube channel. So we'll roll that here for you real quick. Okay, and now I'm going to show you basically the raw unedited footage from that same moment. Okay, so you noticed right off the bat, with the raw footage, no music, no cutting, nothing like that, that when it came time to drop the hammer on that nice buck, so in the YouTube video, I blacked out a couple of seconds there when you heard the report of the rifle. And in reality, what happened was I actually flinched on that shot. Am I embarrassed about that? Maybe a little bit. Maybe that's why I chose to edit that out. But that's reality. I mean, in the heat of the moment, I don't think any of us realize necessarily, what happens in those moments. It was kind of humbling to see myself on camera in that moment. Obviously I have the cameras in the blind and I know they're there recording and stuff, but I'm 100% focused on that moment, trying to make the decision on, when am I going to take the shot? What shot am I going to take? And everything you saw was raw and real there. That buck was coming on a straight line towards me. I had him in the crosshairs. Luckily, he finally turned, and that's the last time I got down on the scope. I put the crosshairs square on his shoulder and squeezed off the round. As part of that, though, I knew I hit him. I was fairly confident I made a good shot on him, right on that front shoulder. As soon as I made that shot, I was expecting to see this deer fold up in his tracks right there in front of me at 15 to 20 yards. But that wasn't the case. He kind of reared up on his back legs, and you can kind of see the look of shock in my face, and his front legs came back down, and he took off on a dead run straight north. And in my mind, it was like, I know that I've got a good solid shot on this deer. It may not have been as good as I thought when I first saw it, but my job as an ethical hunter is to put that animal down as quickly and humanely as possible. And if he's still running, I immediately chambered in a second round. And this is where the magic of editing and YouTube, I chambered in that second round and you kind of saw some movement, and then I cut back to me putting the rifle against the ledge of the blind. But in reality, what I did, as soon as I chambered that second round, I was immediately putting it out another one of the side windows. I had a split second to try to get on that animal as it was running away from me. I fired off that second Hail Mary shot. It did not connect ultimately, as I found out later when I skinned this buck out. The funny thing is my dad was in a blind on the other side of the property. And obviously when we're within earshot of one another, when one of us takes a shot, you obviously take attention. And he heard the second follow-up shot. I mean, as you see in the raw video unedited, it was a pretty quick follow-up shot. And he loved to rib me after I posted that YouTube video about how I edited my second shot out. So, but that's the truth. That's me being as transparent as I can. The first shot was all it took, and there was no reason to even take a second shot. But it's not that it wasn't worth doing that, because if that animal was not fatally wounded, as he eventually was, I feel it's my responsibility to I need to take that second shot. I need to follow up on that animal. So I'm always going to take that second shot if it's presented to me. Everything you saw, beyond that point was real. None of it was staged. The walk up, all of those things, 100% real. For all I knew, I was videoing that. That's why I gave my dad the camera, because I wanted to be on the rifle. Because I thought, if this animal jumps up, if I didn't make as good of a shot as I thought I had, I need to be prepared. So what you saw was real. Dad was filming. That's why we approached the animal so slowly. Obviously, there was a lot cut out there because we moved incredibly slowly working up onto that animal. We were legitimately trying to find blood, so we knew what kind of a shot I made, how much is he bleeding, how far is he going to go. And as always, when you're tracking an animal like that, you need to be looking close, but you also need to be continually checking out in front of you, whether it's 75, 100, 150 yards, because if that animal is not expired and you happen to bump him on that tracking, you need to be ready, because if you can take that follow-up shot right then, that's what you need to do. And in my case, I was very lucky. As soon as that animal dipped over the edge down into that draw, that's where he lay. He expired right there on the spot. There was no sign of a struggle or anything like that. He expired quickly, which is good. That's what we as hunters want to see. Now, granted, I would have much rather seen him just fold up right in his tracks and it would have been done, because it would have saved myself about an hour, hour and a half of angst sitting in the blind there wondering, did I make a poor shot? Is he still alive? Did he run clear north onto the neighbor's property? So moving on from that, I'm going to talk a little bit about Lee's hunt. And I talked to Lee a little bit this morning before I started putting this segment together. I showed him some of the footage that I've started putting together. This is what you saw, and this was reality, and that kind of stuff. And I said, hey, do you want me to include anything from your hunt? And he said, yeah, that'd be fine. So Lee's hunt was even a little more raw than mine. Actually, it was a lot more raw than mine, and that can be tough for anybody. That's tough for an experienced hunter. It's especially tough for a youth hunter. This wasn't Lee's first deer, so he's used to the process. He understands. He's been along with a number of hunts, some that are quick, clean kills, some that are not. But no matter how many times and things you experience, various hunting scenarios, each one's unique, and each one has its own difficulties, its own challenges. And this one, where this was his animal, he was behind the rifle, it was a challenging hunt for him. And so to kind of set the stage again, obviously Lee and I were in the blind. This buck was coming down the trail. Lee got on him with the scope. There was a really narrow window that he had with the best option for a clear shot. And he took the shot, and I'm super proud of him, because he didn't have time to think about it. He had to take the shot, and if he was going to take the shot, that's where he was going to do it. He took the shot, boom, dropped the animal. As you saw, we were super excited in the video. He said he's down, because part of me, I was looking through camera viewfinders and stuff. I knew that he hit the animal, but as I was shifting between cameras, I did not see him go down. I didn't know if he had ran down out of sight or what, but Lee saw him go down. He was confident in that. We, put the rifle back against the edge of the blind and kind of shifted around, and then I started filming some footage, the follow-up, kind of summarizing our morning, and going to talk about how this deer came in and everything. And I'll show you the footage here so you can kind of see the raw, unedited version of what happened here. All right, folks, it is Sunday, November 19th, the last day of the Nebraska deer firearm season. Lee's been stuck in school all week.
I saw his head move.
Do you see it?
I thought I saw antlers move.
Okay, so as you can see in that footage, here Lee and I are moments after the shot rang out. This deer was down. For all we knew, he was fully expired, but as you saw in the video, that was not necessarily the case. And so what happened is, again, since we had a narrow window through the top of those weeds to make a quick, clean shot on that deer, unfortunately in this case, it was just a little bit high on the animal and he hit him in the spine, which, again, if you hunt deer long enough, sooner or later you are going to spine shoot an animal. So for Lee, this was his first experience at this. And so what you saw in that last clip was him kind of going through those emotions. It's a roller coaster. You know, you made the shot, you think that animal's down, you think it's a done deal, and we're sitting there talking and he catches a glimpse of the tips of the antlers moving, meaning that animal was on the ground but was immobilized and still alive. But again, at that point, we didn't know that he was spine shot. I thought that could have just been the final kick, so to speak, which if you've hunted, you've seen that too. You can put an animal down. Obviously, it may take a few seconds, 30 seconds, whatever, for them to fully expire, during which time they might kick and thrash around a little bit. But that's hunting as well. So we didn't know, but in that moment, if you see that animal moving, Lee reacted perfectly. I didn't instruct him on any of that. He immediately grabbed the rifle, got on the deer in the scope, or as much of the deer as he could see, because the animal was still on the ground. But he got on him, got him in the scope, and yeah, I said, if he gets up, you put another round in him. So he stayed on him on the rifle scope. I turned the camera off because obviously we needed to focus on the situation at hand. And so we waited, and we didn't see him move anymore. We thought that it was kind of the final kick scenario. We thought he had expired there. So we gave him a more than enough time. We wanted to be safe there. We made our way back to the pickup. I got a hold of Dad. He came up, and then we went ahead and made our final approach down to the deer. And again, since we weren't 100% certain, in my mind, I thought this was a done deer. I thought he was down and done. But again, always approach these animals with caution, with the assumption that maybe they are not fully expired. So we approached him slowly. We knew the general area he was. And as you see in this next clip, the animal was not fully expired. Yeah, I think I see his white belly.
Oh, I see him.
Come around on this side. He's not moving if that's him. He's moving.
This is for the 32.
He's flopping there. Yep. Okay, we're gonna have to finish him off, okay, bud? Okay, so as you saw, we approached this animal as slowly and meticulously as we could. We knew the general area that he had dropped on that trail. Lee was on the ready with the rifle. I even had my dad with the .32 Winchester lever gun kind of as on standby, on backup, because I told him going into it, I said, I think this deer's down, but if you wouldn't mind, I want you having that rifle, because if he stands up, and obviously we would want Lee to make that shot, but if that animal's still going, I told Dad, you go ahead and put him down, because we don't want to track him or draw this out any farther than we have to. So we approached the animal. I saw his white belly, and I thought, well, that's a good sign. I think he's done. I think he's expired. And then I saw him move, and that's where, in the video, you heard me say he's moving. And so I didn't know if he was going to stand up. In those situations, it's tense. Your adrenaline's pumping. You have no idea what's going to happen. But I wanted to make sure I alerted Dad and Lee so they would be ready. And ultimately, the animal, again, since he was spine shot, was incapacitated on the ground, there was no chance he was going to get up and run. But he did require a follow-up shot. And obviously for Lee as a young hunter, that's not an easy situation. It's very raw, and it's something he'll never forget. I guarantee that. And like I said, some of us go a lot of years on our hunting journey before we ever have to deal with that situation. Lee's was a little sooner than most, probably sooner than he would like. And ultimately, he got the animal. He punched the tag, we had the buck, everything ended up fine. Granted, it wasn't necessarily the way we would have envisioned it going. Obviously, we all want that quick, clean kill where the animal is down and it's a done deal as quickly as possible. But again, that is the reality of hunting. It's something we all have to experience. So it's important to know that sometimes that's necessary. That's what we have to do as hunters. We have to embrace those situations. We have to make split-second decisions, and we have to deal with the outcomes. All right, folks, so that is kind of a wrap on our look at the reality of hunting. If you like seeing content like this from us, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. That really helps us out on the YouTube. So if you get a chance, make sure you like, subscribe, comment on our videos. We sure appreciate that, and we hope you stay tuned for future ones. Take care, everybody.